Rajat, welcome. Sparking a huge outrage across India. Yeah. Hello everyone, I am Akhil Rajaratnam and welcome to today's daily news analysis. Today, March 18th. On this day in 1990, the Britishers passed the infamous Rowlatt Act, which sparked a lot of outrage across India. It even allowed detention without trial, suppressed the freedom of speech, and even silenced the dissent in the country. All this led to widespread protests, and even that led to the tragic incident of Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So before we begin the discussion, let's start with a very short quiz on this historical event. Okay, so here the screen you can see the quiz. The Rowlatt Act was officially known as, what was the official name of Rowlatt Act? Okay, Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. Option B, the Defense of India Act. Option C, the Government of India Act. Option D, the Indian Penal Code Amendment Act. Okay, so you can post your answers in the chat box. By the end of the session, we'll be discussing this particular question. Okay. All right. So before moving on to the topics, let me introduce you to our course. This is a one-year prelims cum mains integrated course for the students who are aiming the 2026 examination, and also we have a 2-year prelims cum mains integrated course. So that is for the students who are aiming the 2027 examination. The program overview is we have around 800 plus hours of classes, online classes will be there, and in that around 200 plus hours of current affairs class are also included. Okay. Alright, so these are the topics for today's discussion. So we have 5 topics. One of the topics we have already discussed in the past DNA. So the link of the topic will be posted in the comment box. Okay. The first topic is New Delhi's perilous recalibration with Taliban. Again, this is related to India Taliban diplomatic ties. So the New Delhi is going for a very risky diplomatic recalibration with the Taliban. Okay. Another one is related to climate change and wheat. How climate change is affecting India's wheat production cycle. Again, this is from the Hindu Science page only. So how the climate change is disrupting India's wheat production. Okay. So after that we have SC to examine petition on CAG appointment process. So there was a petition in the Supreme Court to review the appointment process of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Okay. All right. So after that we have the barriers faced by construction workers. Again, this also from the Hindu op-ed page only. Here we'll be discussing regarding what are the struggles of the construction workers in India, what are the challenges, what are the barriers faced by the construction workers, and what are the legal provisions related to that. Okay. Another one is related to electoral reforms. Again, this is from the text and context page of the Hindu. So this we have already discussed in our past DNA. So the link of that particular DNA will be posted in the chat box. Okay. So you can click on that link and you can watch the DNA, and there we have explained it in detail. Okay. All right. So this is the first article. This is related to India-Afghan relation. Okay. This is coming in the India-Afghan relation. Very important from the in India and its neighborhood relation topic of a GS2 paper. Okay. All right. So the context here is India is gradually deepening its engagement with Taliban. It is Afghanistan is ruled by Taliban only. So India is deepening its engagement with Taliban, and even there are reports indicating that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government, so they may permit the Afghan regime to even appoint a new envoy to the to its embassy in New Delhi also. Okay, so we'll be discussing this India-Afghan relation as well as the new developments in detail itself. Okay. All right. So previous year question in this regard, the proposed withdrawal of international security assistance force from Afghanistan in 2014 is fraught with major security implications for the countries of the region, examined in the light of fact that India is faced with a plethora of challenges and need to safeguard its own strategic interests. Okay, and this is also related to India International Security Assistance Force. All right, so let's understand why Afghanistan is very much important for India. What is the importance of Afghanistan, especially in this geopolitics? What is the importance for Afghanistan? It's not just trade alone. Many things are there. For example, security is there, geopolitics is there, regional influence is there. For everything, this Afghanistan or this particular region is important. Okay, but since Taliban took control of this region, India had to adjust its strategy. So that is what is happening now. So we'll break it down one by one. So first we'll start with why Afghanistan is important for India. Okay, first one is the geopolitical importance of the region. You, the map you can see that where is India and where is Afghanistan. So the geopolitical importance of Afghanistan. So Afghanistan is basically a bridge between South Asia and Central Asia. Okay, so Afghanistan is actually a bridge between. Okay, so this is South Asia. Okay, so this region is South Asia. So this is Central Asia. So this is Central Asia. So Afghanistan is acting as a bridge between this South Asia as well as a Central Asia. Okay, so because of this location, it plays a big role in the regional politics. So maybe we can say that it's a highway that connects India to the Central Asia itself. So obviously India has invested a lot of projects, especially the Chabahar port in Iran, all these things, whether it be, so everything has an implication, like trade implication will be there, security implication will be there, everything will be there. Okay, another one, the security concerns, the security concern. So a safe Afghanistan is very much, or maybe a stable Afghanistan is very much important for a safer India. Okay, we can say it like stable Afghan. Stable Afghan synonymous with a safer India. Stable Afghan is definitely necessary for a safer India. India, in the past itself, India has faced terrorist attacks, attacks from this terrorist group like this Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed and all. So they have links in the, or maybe they have their stations in the Afghanistan. So if Afghanistan is unstable, this group will be growing stronger, and it can even threaten India's national security also, especially in this northern part, Kashmir region and all. It's very much important to have a stable neighborhood. Okay, another one is trade as well as a natural resources. Trade as well as a natural resource. So Afghanistan has a wealth of natural resources. For example, copper, even lithium, copper, copper, lithium, or maybe even the some of the critical minerals are there, rare earth minerals are there. So this is also very much crucial for the industry. So this makes Afghanistan economically also very much significant. Afghanistan economically also very much significant. Another one is the connectivity. Connectivity. So India has already invested in the Chabahar port in Iran. Chabahar port in Iran. So why does India need an alternative route to Afghanistan? Chabahar is coming somewhere here only. Okay, we can directly go this way, but instead of that, we are going through this way to Afghanistan. So why we are actually choosing an indirect way to Afghanistan? Because Pakistan is blocking the direct land access. So if we are going this way, means Pakistan will be blocking the direct land access. So we are taking an alternative route to go to Chabahar. So it's as an alternative route. All right. So before 2021, India was having a different diplomatic strategy in dealing with Afghanistan. After 2021, India is having a different strategy. Okay, so what happened in 2021 we'll discuss later. So this was actually the diplomatic ties we were having in before pre 2021. So Afghanistan has been a strong, Afghanistan and India has been strong partners for all these years, and we even had a strategic partnership. We even had a strategic partnership which was signed in 2020, 2011. We had a strategic partnership we signed in 2021 to an agreement known as a strategic partnership agreement. Strategic partnership agreement 2011, we have signed it with Afghanistan. So in that many factors are there. For example, one, trade will be there, security will be there, developing the infrastructure will be there. So that is also one of the important things. Another one, India has investments in the reconstruction. India has investment in the reconstruction. Okay, so 2001, earlier Afghanistan was under Taliban. Okay, before 2001, Afghanistan was under Taliban. So 2001, Afghan got a government. Afghanistan was a non-Taliban government. So India has heavy investment in this. After this, the post-Taliban period, India has invested in Afghanistan for the reconstruction. For example, India has given $3 billion aid, $3 billion aid to Afghanistan to help rebuild the country, and also has built schools. This is one of the India's major strategy, which will use it in this kind of war-torn countries, and all. We'll be building schools, will be building the roads, hospital, power grid. So all these things will be constructed, uh, was constructed. Okay. Another one, even India was part of building the Afghanistan parliament also. Okay. When the Afghanistan parliament was built by India, another one, another major infrastructure project is the Salma Dam. We even call it as a Afghanistan India Friendship Dam. Okay. Salma Dam, we even call it as a Afghanistan India friendship dam. So this is a very major project between India and Afghanistan. Okay. Another one is a military training and aid which India has given to the Afghanistan. Okay. So India did not send troops during all those things. India, for example, US and all, they sent troops to Afghanistan, but India didn't send any troops to Afghanistan, but helped in training the Afghan soldiers, and even we provided the other military roles. For example, like infrastructure, like helicopters, we have given other machineries and all we have given. Okay. So after that, India has given. So after the democratic governments were elected, so India has given support to these democratic government also. Two important governments were there. One is Hamid Karzai and another one is Ashraf Ghani. Hamid Karzai and Ashraf Ghani. Okay, two important governments we have supported. We have supported two important governments by Hamid Karzai and Ashraf Ghani. Okay, so that was also, so these were some of the early diplomatic ties which India had with Afghanistan. So after this government fell, Taliban took over. On August 15, 2001, the Taliban took over the control of the Kabul. Kabul is the capital of Afghanistan. So it was a very rapid offensive attack against the Afghanistan forces. So that led to the collapse of the government. So at that time, Ashraf Ghani was a head of the state. Ashraf Ghani's administration was there. So Taliban took over from Ashraf Ghani. Okay. So what were the main reasons why Taliban had an advantage over this Afghanistan? One, it was a US withdrawal. It was a US withdrawal. So this United States, they had sent troops. They had sent troops to Afghanistan. So after 20 years, so after 20 years, US had withdrawn. After 20 years, US had withdrawn from this Afghanistan. US had withdrawn from this Afghanistan, and also Pakistan as well. So Pakistan has also long supported. Pakistan has also long supported this Taliban. So they provided them with safe havens, and even the logistical support was also given by Pakistan. So that is also one important thing. And also this Ghani's government had internal weakness also. Corruption was there. Even the leadership was also not strong. So as a result, the Taliban took over, and India was having a very good ties with this Afghanistan. But after post 2001, India also had to wait. Initially India had to wait and watch. India used a strategy of wait and watch. Okay. So after that, India had to change its approach dealing with the Afghanistan. Okay. All right. So first, what India did was, like, initially India went with a wait and watch approach. India went with a wait and watch approach. So after that, first what India did is, like, India closed its embassy. India closed its embassy in Kabul, and even civilians were there. Indian citizens were there. So India evacuated the citizens. But over a period of time, India started re-engaging with Taliban. India started re-engaging with Taliban, especially for this security as well as economic reasons. We'll be discussing some of the reasons later. This is actually India's strategy post the 2022. Okay, so to 2021. So what India did in 2022? In 2022, I already mentioned, like, we have closed the embassy. So in 2022 June, what we did is, like, we reopened the embassy. We reopened the embassy. So this was one important thing which we have done. Okay, India restarted its diplomatic presence, but still at that time also India has not officially recognized Taliban. maybe the country, but not the leadership. India didn't recognize the leadership. Okay. Another one, India started providing humanitarian aid. Okay. So during that time, when the COVID was in the end state, so during that time, COVID was in the end state. During that time, India provided food, India provided medicine, even the COVID-19 vaccines India provided to many countries. So that also we provided it to this Afghan people. Okay. Another one is related to the security talks, security consideration, security talks we had. So India has been in this back channel discussions with Taliban, not a official diplomatic engagement, but still we were in the back channel discussion with the Taliban, especially to prevent this terrorist threats. Okay. Another one, we need to balance the rivals. We need to balance the rival factor, especially we have two rival nations. One is China, another one is Pakistan. Obviously, they are having good relations to counter this rival factions. India, China, as well as Pakistan. Even China was increasing its influence over Afghanistan. So India also wanted to maintain its own position. Okay, if China is growing closer to the country, obviously there are chances like that country will be hostile towards India. So India don't want to have that particular thing in future. Okay, so we'll see what is China's growing role in this Afghanistan region, how China wanted to make Afghanistan to their side. Okay, so China was one of the China was quickly embraces Afghan government. In 2023, China became the first country to accept the Taliban envoy. India has still not accepted, but we are still in talks only. But 2023, China became the first country to accept a Taliban envoy. So Chinese interest in this Afghanistan is very much crucial. For example, China is having this ambitious project, that is a Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative. So China want all countries in this particular region to be part of this Belt and Road Initiative. So China wanted to include Afghanistan also into this massive infrastructure project. Okay, and other than that, China has other infrastructure investment also. Other than this Belt and Road, other infrastructure, especially in this mining field. We have already discussed Afghanistan is having a lot of natural resources. So in this mining field also, China is having a lot of investments in this mining field as well as energy projects also. Okay, and another one is security deals which they are having. So China wanted Taliban to control the Uyghur militant groups. Okay, Uyghur militant groups are and hostile towards China. So China wanted Taliban to have a control over the Uyghur militant groups and keep the keep the Xinjiang province under their control without any. So for that also China need Taliban support. Okay, Taliban support is very much needed. Okay, so that this province is stable. Okay, so China is slowly expanding its influence. So India cannot keep quiet. India also need to reassess its approach, because China has already knew that controlling Eurasia is very much important. Controlling Eurasia is very much important. So there is actually a theory also that controlling Eurasia is very much important to be a global powerhouse, that we call it as a rimland theory. That we call it as a rimland theory. So this is actually a very important theory which highlights the strategic importance of Afghanistan. Okay, known as a rimland theory. So this was proposed by Nicholas Pikeman. It was proposed by Nicholas Pikeman. So this theory says that whoever controls the coastal or peripheral, whoever controls the coastal and periphery regions of Eurasia is crucial for the global dominance. Okay, so whoever is controlling the coastal and peripheral regions of Eurasia can dominate the global politics. So this is what the rimland theory is saying. Okay, so this is a rimland. Okay, this is so called as a heartland. So rimland and heartland will be there. So this was a theory which was proposed by Nicholas Pikeman. Theory which was proposed by Nicholas Pikeman. For India, according to this theory, Chinese, we have already mentioned why they wanted to control all this region because of this theory. For India also, it is very much crucial. Afghanistan is the gateway or maybe the highway to the Central Asia itself. It's actually acting as a bridge between South Asia and Central Asia. So India loses influence there. It strengthens the rival countries. For example, Pakistan. So Pakistan will be encroaching there, China will be encroaching there, and obviously India will not be in a position to go. So India don't want to be late there. So that is why India is pushing for alternative trade routes. For example, like Chabahar. Chabahar in Iran. We are already moving forward with this Chabahar in Iran. Another important project which India is having is the INSTC, International North-South Transport Corridor. That is INSTC. So these are some of the important projects India is moving forward. Okay, but New Delhi is gradually shifting from isolating this Taliban government to limited engagement publicly itself. Okay, so this is actually driven by three important factors. One is counter-terrorism cooperation. Okay, so engaging with Taliban can help prevent this terrorist group. For example, there are many terrorist groups in Taliban. So popular one which is challenging India, popular one, or maybe the infamous one which is challenging India in this particular region, that is Islamic State Khorasan province. Islamic State Khorasan province. So they were targeting India of late. Okay, so we wanted to counter that, and also there is actually a strategic competition with China, because China will be having infrastructure, but India don't want to miss that opportunity. Okay, so as China is expanding its footprint, India also seek to protect its investment and even influence over the Afghanistan region. Okay, and also we have regional connectivity goals also. We have regional connectivity goals are also there. So Pakistan will be blocking direct land access. So India is pushing for alternative roads. I've already shown the map why it is a problem. So if you are going the land way, means it is we have to cross through Pakistan only. So Chabahar means we can directly go to Afghanistan through Iran itself. Okay, so this is another important um, another important thing in India's new strategy. But still, there are many challenges are there in India's engagement with this Taliban. Okay, so even though India is engaging with Taliban, there are major challenges. One, Taliban's extremist policies. Taliban is not a democratically elected government. Okay, so they had extremist policies like their stance on women. They are not even providing. They don't want women to get education. So like that way, even they have not moved away from their completely extremist ideology. Okay, and their governance style is also too much theocratic. Okay, so like that way, so this makes diplomacy difficult. Okay, very difficult, because we usually deal with that kind of a secular, that kind of a countries only. Okay, so that is, we have to change on our diplomatic engagement styles also. And also terrorism threats are also there, like I've already mentioned, like groups like ISKP, Islamic State Khorasan province, and even Tehriki Taliban groups are there. So like Jaish-e-Mohammed is a Lashkar-e-Toiba. So like that, these groups are active in Afghanistan. So that is also another important thing. Another one is an unstable government. Taliban isn't officially recognized by most of the countries. China is the first country to recognize its envoy. India is planning to do something in that particular way, but still most of the countries have not officially recognized this Taliban. So ultimately, this is an unstable government only. Everyone will like, even if Taliban is falling. Okay, so that is also there. Okay, all right. So what we can do in this particular way? What is a way forward in this context? What next? So India need to balance. There should be a diplomatic balancing should be there while engaging with Taliban. So we have to avoid focusing on focusing on this like extremist measures of Taliban and all. We have to understand that what India needs. So based on that, we need to have some diplomatic balancing should be there. Security cooperation, and even if we have to push Taliban to cut ties with this terrorist. Even Taliban itself was a terrorist group, but still now they are part of the government. We have to officially push Taliban to cut ties with the terror groups which are operating at least in Taliban itself. Obviously, we need to focus on expanding the trade and connectivity through Chabahar, INSTC and all. We have to do that. We have to continue the humanitarian assistance we have been giving to Taliban. So that's also needed. And obviously, all the things we have to counter Chinese dominance in this particular region. So that's also very much important. Okay. Another one, we need to have strategic partnership with other countries. For example, like Russia, Iran, and other countries in the Central Asia to have a stable security, regional security framework. So that is also very much important. Okay. All right. Moving on to next article. So next article is related to climate change and India's wheat production. Again, it's important for both prelims as well as the wheat related facts. It's important for the prelims, and also how climate change is affecting India's wheat production cycles. That's important from the mains perspective also. Okay. All right. So this article gives a comprehensive analysis of how this recent climate changes, particularly in this warming of Indian Ocean, have altered this monsoon patterns and even have possessed significant challenges to wheat cultivation in India. Okay. All right. We'll see a previous year question in this regard. What are the major reasons for declining rice and wheat yield in cropping system? How crop diversification is helpful to stabilize the yield of crops in the system? Okay, that's a question. All right, so yeah, we'll see some important basic facts related to wheat as well as wheat cultivation in India. Okay, so basically wheat is a one of the important staple crops in India, one of the important staple crops in India. So wheat is basically a rabi crop. Wheat is basically a rabi crop, or it is a winter crop. Okay, wheat is basically a rabi crop or a winter crop. Why it is known as a rabi crop or winter crop? Because it is sown in the winter months only, October to December. So it is sown in October to December, and it is harvested. So it is harvested in a later period from March to April. Okay. So October to December, March to April. Okay. Sown in October to December, harvested in March to April. So that's why this kind of crops we call it as a ragi crop. So basically it needs a cooler climate. Basically it needs a cooler climate. Cooler climate from 10 degree to 25 degree. 10 degree to 25 degree. The top wheat producing states in India, one, Uttar Pradesh. So Uttar Pradesh is the largest wheat producer in India. Uttar Pradesh is the largest wheat producer in India, and we have Punjab as well as Haryana. So they are known for their high productivity. Why? Because they have high advanced farming techniques. Okay, high productivity, and we have another important state is Madhya Pradesh. So again, this is also a very important contributor to the wheat production in India. Okay, so these are some of the important prelims related facts which we need to understand related to wheat cultivation in India. Okay, so let's see what are the stages of wheat growth. What are the stages of wheat growth? So the growth of wheat can be categorized into several stages. Very basic facts only. Germination. What is germination? So here the seed will be, you'll plant the seed and the seed will be absorbing the water and slowly start to sprout. We will have the sprouts will get, right. So like that way it will start to sprout. So after that we have a very important, so this is a sprouting stage. So this is a sprouting stage. Okay. So after that the stage is tillering stage. So here the plant produces extra shoots. The shoots we call it as tillers. The shoots we call it as tillers. Okay, so this is known as a tillering stage. So after that there is a jointing stage. So here the stem begins to grow and nodes become visible. Okay, so visible nodes. So that is in the jointing stage. So after that we have the booting stage. So here the wheat head will be formed inside the stem. Wheat head will be formed. That is a booting stage. Okay, so after that we have the heading stage. So wheat head emerges from the stem. Okay, the head emerges from the, that is known as a heading stage. Flowering stage, obviously it is evident only. The plant will get pollinate and start to flower. So after that, this is a very important stage, that is grain filling stage. Okay, so here the kernels will be developed. Kernels will be developed in this grain filling stage. So finally the wheat will be maturing. Wheat will be maturing. So here this is a fully grown wheat stage. Okay, fully grown wheat stage, and it is ready to harvest. Okay, so here the grain filling stage is the most important one. This grain filling stage is a most important one, and it's one of the most sensitive stages also, and it's very sensitive to the heat stress. So higher the temperature means the yield will be reducing, especially in this particular stage. Okay, so now you might have understood how the heat affects the wheat growth. Okay, so it will be starting almost will be sowing it in the what will be sowing it in the maybe December or October only. The harvest will happen in April. So this is a time where the temperature will be increased. Okay, so around that time grain filling will also be happening. So this is a heat stress. A lot of heat stress is happening in this particular stage, means yield will be low. Okay, so that is one of the major things, and obviously you know, right, now the climate change has increased the global temperatures. Now in March, April, and now also it is March, April time, you can see how the temperatures have increased, and now it is becoming too hot for many parts of the country itself. So this is a major reason why the wheat yields are low. Okay, so we'll see little more detail like how this is getting impacted, how this is getting impacted. So major impact is the lighter the grains, lighter grains will be there. For example, the high temperatures will shorten the grain filling period. Grain filling period is the most crucial period. So higher the temperature means the grain filling period will be shorter. So obviously the grains will be very much lighter. Okay, so smaller, lighter grains will be there. So obviously that will lead to lower yield. So the meat matures too quickly. So overall production will be decreased. So that's also thing. And obviously the grains are lightweight means the quality will be poor. Quality will be poor means, so wheat will be having protein will be there, and starch contents will be there. So all these things will be very poor, very poor. It reduces the quality of the wheat itself, and for all these things we can blame climate change. Okay, climate change. So what is happening here? The Indian Ocean is warming due to climate change. The Indian Ocean is warming. This is according to the article. The article is saying that Indian Ocean is warming faster than ever, which is disrupting the normal weather pattern. So Indian Ocean warming, normal weather pattern is disrupting. So that even led to changing monsoon. So there is a variability in the monsoon. Okay, variability in the monsoon. So monsoon will become irregular. It will become irregular. So if the monsoon is delayed, it will affect both Kharif as well as the Rabi season. So Kharif will be delayed. Okay, it goes like this. Indian Ocean is warming, so monsoon will be variable. So it will cause a delayed Kharif season. Delayed Kharif season means delayed Kharif sowing, delayed Kharif harvesting. So that will again lead to delayed Rabi sowing. Delayed Rabi sowing means again delayed what Rabi harvesting also. Okay, so again by this time the Rabi has been sown and all, heat will be more. Okay, heat will be more. This will be pushing the Rabi season will be pushed towards the almost to the summer stage itself. So all these things will be exposing wheat to higher temperature, and that will ultimately cause the Rabi season will be pushed. Late sown wheat phases will be there. So everything will be pushed together. And if heat is more, the pests will be surviving. More pests will be coming, more diseases will be coming to the wheat, and obviously the wheat yield will be low, and also even if we are getting yield also, the quality will also be reduced. So this is what is happening in um, in this period. Okay, all right. So what is the way forward? We need to develop better heat resilient varieties. We need to develop better heat resilient varieties. Scientists have to work on that thing. So the sowing dates has to be adjusted. We have to prepone this sowing date so that this the temperatures are increasing. Temperatures are not getting affected for the wheat. Obviously, we need to have a better irrigation practice also. The soil has to remain cool, even if it's the outside temperatures are hot. Also, soil has if the soil is remaining cold means the impact can be reduced, and also the pest management has to be improved. Okay, so that is also one of the reasons. The pest temperatures increase, pest will be increasing, disease will be increasing. So we need to incorporate more eco-friendly pest control techniques also. Okay, and obviously the government should come up with better policy support, better financial support, better procuring, or maybe even more policies for development of better varieties of wheat. All those things has to be done. Okay, all right, moving on to next article. This is related to the Supreme Court, the petition filed in Supreme Court relating to the CAG appointment. CAG appointment. Okay, so we will discuss regarding CAG, its appointment, and all these things will be discussed in this particular session. Okay. All right, a previous year question in this regard, Parliamentary Committee on Public Accounts. Okay, again, this is also related to appointments only. Similar way, related to the CAG appointment also, questions can be asked for both prelims as well as a mains examination. Okay, all right. So first, understand what is this CAG. What is the Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India? Who is CAG? Why? What is the role of CAG? Why CAG is important? We'll be discussing initially. Okay. So CAG is actually an independent constitutional body. Independent constitutional body. Uh, in articles 149 to 148 to 151, it is mentioned in detail. What is a CAG? What is a CAG? CAG is the guardian of public purse. Okay, CAG is said to be the guardian of CAG is said to be the guardian of public purse. Okay, public purse or obviously public money. So CAG, the office of CAG ensures that the government funds are spent properly. They are audited properly. Both government in sense, both state government as well as central government will be there. So checks should be there. Some checks should be there so that this money is utilized in a efficient way. Okay, and also for that, the major thing is like CAG will directly report to the parliament only. Okay, it is accountable only to the parliament and not to the government. Okay, it's accountable only to the parliament, and it audits both state government accounts as well as the central government accounts will be audited by CAG. Okay, so that is also very much important related to CAG. So there are some constitutional provisions in from Article 148 to Article 159. There are some constitutional provisions related to CAG. Okay, so Article 148, according to Article 148, CAG is appointed by the President of India. Okay, so according to Article 148, CAG is appointed by the President of India. CAG is appointed by the President of India according to Article 148. So, according to Article 149, CAG audits the government account. Audits the government account. Both state government as well as the central government account, CAG will be auditing. Okay, so that is mentioned in Article 149. Audits of the government account. According to Article 150, the CAG advisor. It's more of an advisory role. Advises the President on how union and state government should be maintained. Okay. So, advises the President in the financial matters. That is happening in Article 150. Okay, and we have Article 151. So, CAG reports are submitted to the concerned Parliament. Okay. So, 159 reports are submitted to this 159, and also outside this there is another article known as Article 279 also. Okay, so this through in this article it is said that CAG calculates the tax revenue and shares between the union and state government. Okay, so this is outside the CAG section itself, Article 279. Okay, so this is talking related to the tax shares. Tax shares. Okay, so these are some of the important constitutional provisions in the constitution related to the office of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Okay, so what does a CAG do? CAG audits the government's account. Both the central government as well as the state government accounts will be audited through CAG. We have passed an act also. We have passed an act known as the Comptroller and Auditor General Duties, Powers and Conditions of Service Act, which was enacted in 1971. The CAG Act was enacted in 1971. So here the terms and conditions of CAG, Office of CAG will be mentioned, how CAG has to work, what are the powers, the conditions of service, all these things are mentioned in this particular CAG Act only. So this is through some judicial rulings, even the government instructions, everything has been combined together to form this particular article. Okay, so CAG will be auditing the government accounts, both state as well as a union. Both state government account as well as a union government account will be audited by the office of this controller and auditor general. And other than that, they can also audit public sector entities. They can audit public sector PSUs, public sector undertakings will be there. So that's also part of government what money only. So that's also there. Advisory role we have already discussed. So it advises the president. It advises the president related to these financial matters as well as between the uh, this auditing of this union and what this only. Okay, so reporting to the legislature. Legislature in the sense it report directly to the parliament. Reports directly to the parliament, and obviously it is having a monitoring function also. See, office of CAG is having a monitoring function is also there. So it ensures that corrective actions suggested in this audit reports are implemented. It's not just suggesting something, but it is implementing that also. Okay. So what is the present issue? What is the present issue? Why they have sent this petition? Because this petition argues that the current appointment process is very much unfair. One, it is having lack of transparency. Why? Because government can appoint anyone it wants without a structured selection process. If the election commission means, or maybe the other bodies mean, there will be a search committee will be there, a selection committee will be there. So for CAG that is not there. Okay, it is saying that it's a threat to the CAG's independence. The ruling government, the ruling party appoints a biased person. The CAG may not challenge the financial mismanagement of the particular government. So that's also one of the major things. And also there should be a need to have a collegium system. Collegium style selection process should be there. For example, it is suggesting that Prime Minister should be part of it, leader of opposition should be part, even Chief Justice of India should also be part of the committee which appoints a controller and auditor general. Okay, so these are some of the and also recently there has been issues related to this auditing of this government spending. So that is also very much important. So the key question is, should the appointment process be changed to make CAG more independent? So without independent CAG, financial transparency cannot be achieved. So that is why the petition has been filed. Okay. All right, moving on to next article. Again, this article is related to the labor reforms as well, especially in the India's construction sector. Okay, so we'll discuss the legal provisions related to these these areas. Okay, all right. So India's construction sector. India's construction sector has been facing a lot of labor shortages because of these structural issues faced by the construction workers, and construction sector is very much important for um, boosting the economy also. Particularly this migrant workers are facing issues like job security, difficulty accessing the welfare benefits. So even administrative hurdles are also becoming an issue. So like that way, they're having a lot of issues. Okay, so we'll start with that. Before that, a previous year question. Success of Make in India program depends on the success of Skill India program and radical labor reform. Discuss with logical arguments. All right. So challenges faced by the construction workers. First one is job insecurity. Job insecurity, and sometimes we have to go with frequent relocations also. Mostly this construction workers, especially the migrant workers and all, they have to move frequently in search of jobs. So one area, one job will be there. So when it gets completed, they have to shift to some other area to find a job. So they don't have a stable employment opportunity. So long-term financial security is not um, possible for them. Okay. Another one, difficulty in accessing the welfare benefits. Welfare benefits. So the government has enacted an act known as the Building and Other Construction Workers (BOCW) Act in 1996. So this was created to protect the construction workers, but still many struggle to claim the benefits which are given through this particular act. So that is also one of the major issues which we are facing. Okay. Another one, underutilized welfare funds. Around 70,000 crore collected as construction cess. So that remains unused just because of this slow administrative process as well as a bureaucratic delays. So that's also major issue which they are facing. Another one is a complex documentation process. So as of now, we have an employment certificate. 90 days of work, we will have an employment certificate, but still getting a permanent address. Permanent address is really difficult. So we have to documents like birth certificate, residential proofs, rental agreements. Everything is very much difficult for this migrant workers. Okay. Another one, state specific welfare limitations are also there. Some benefits registered in one state cannot be accessed in another. For example, migrant workers, they are from one state only state. So if they are registering in, for example, if they are registering in Telangana, they might not be able to access it in Tamil Nadu. That kind of issue is also happening. Okay. So this is also one of the major issues faced especially by the migrant laborers. Okay. Another one, slow disbursement of this aid. Slow disbursement, even if they are getting aid also, the disbursement process is becoming very much slow. So that's also very uh, much of an issue. Lack of digital infrastructure is also major issue. No organized or no centralized database related to this migrant workers to track how they are working, how to automate the verification process. So these things are also absent for these workers. Okay, so that is also major issue. So for to address some, at least some of these, the government has come up with some legal frameworks. One is a code on social security. Code on social security 2020. Okay, so this covers interstate migrant workers, construction workers, and even the film industry workers, and even the platform workers also. So what are the key provisions of this? One, it is having some social security fund will be there. It established a social security fund that was set up for unorganized workers. And another one is a National Social Security Board. A National Social Security Board. National Social Security Board was established. So that will be recommending the welfare scheme. So that's also major challenge. One of the major steps. And during this pandemic period, during this COVID period, so they have come up with some better provisions. COVID provisions were also there. So that these affected people, these kind of daily wages were really affected during this pandemic period. So it gave some temporary relief to these people. Temporary relief, like some allowances, contributions were given to those people. Okay. Another important legal provision is the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code of 2020. Again, this also covering the interstate migrant workers, construction workers, and even the factory workers also. Okay, so some of the important key provisions of this is interstate migrant workers has been defined. Migrant workers has been defined, so it covers the workers earning up to 18,000. Okay, so if the worker is earning up to 18,000, then that person will be included as an interstate migrant worker. Okay. Another one, portability of benefits. So workers, if they are getting registering one benefit in one particular state, so that can be accessed across the state. That's also another important thing. Okay, so they are given journey allowance. So these employers, they must pay for travel from home state to the job site. So that's also given. So that will be paid as a journey allowance. And women in construction and night shifts, so they are also be given flexibility. Okay, so women in construction, night shift means 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. So that is given more definition, as well as more safeguards will be there. Even the daily work hours were also made little more rational, like that has been limited to 8 hours. That's also there. Okay. All right. So these are the legal framework. So what is the way forward? Reforms must focus on a unified national labor identification system. There should be a unified national labor identification system, so that we'll be getting all records in a single space itself. Okay. Another one, integration of this worker data. We have portals like eSTAM and UAN portals are there. So we need to integrate this worker data with these portals, so that there will be an seamless access to this welfare scheme. So that should be there. And there should be an open source digital platform, so that the issues in the digital infrastructure can be rectified. Okay, simplified documentation process, whether it be the birth certificate, whether it's the residence certificate, all these things should be simplified or maybe automated also. Okay, so these are some of the things which we can do in this regard. Okay, so all right. So these are the four topics of today's daily news analysis discussion. Now moving on to the fifth topic, why are electoral reforms necessary? So this we have already covered it in our uh, previous daily news analysis on March 12th. Okay, so you can, the link will be posted in the comment box. You can click on that link and it will be, you can watch this particular video. Okay. All right. So moving on to the mains practice question of today. Again, this from the Indo-Afghan relations, or maybe India's engagement with Taliban. Evaluate the changes in India's Afghanistan policy post 2021 Taliban takeover. What factors have driven India's gradual engagement with Taliban? You can briefly introduce what was India's approach. Like, India preferred the wait and watch approach, and slowly we are increasing the gradual engagement. Like that way, you can introduce your answer. So after that, we can go to initial policy. What was the initial policy before pre-Taliban takeover? What was the policy which we were doing? So after that, what are the factors driving India's gradual engagement, like the Chinese influence in that area, security concern India is having, the humanitarian diplomacy which we were already practicing, even the Pakistan Taliban relations, that's also concerning for India. So like that we can mention the factors. And finally, India's policy, what are the India's policy shift, like the reopening of the embassy, back channel talks, more infrastructure development. So like that we can write India's new policy, and after that you can conclude the answer with a saying that India should adopt a more pragmatic, national interest based approach. Like that we can conclude this. Okay. All right, moving on to the prelims practice questions of yesterday's DNA. So today's DNA, practice questions of today's DNA will be discussed in tomorrow's daily news analysis. Okay, so these are the practice questions of yesterday's daily news analysis. Okay. Also, today's the practice questions of today's daily news analysis, you can go to our website navigator.narayanayes.com. The link will be posted in the chat box. So there you can go. There will be current affairs tab will be there. So there in the uh, daily quiz tab, you can open the daily quiz tab and you can attend the questions also. All the three questions you can attend from there. Okay. All right. We'll discuss the yesterday's daily questions of yesterday's daily news analysis. Air pollution reduces the amount of solar radiation reaching solar panels, leading to lower energy generation. Okay, so this is correct. Okay, it will be leading to lower energy generation. That is correct. Rising temperatures due to climate change improve the efficiency of the photovoltaic cell. Okay, so this is wrong actually. It is not improving the efficiency, but it is decreasing the efficiency of photovoltaic cell. Okay, so basically this is wrong. Atmospheric factors such as aerosols, cloud cover and particulate matter significantly influences solar power generation. Yeah, obviously it will significantly influence it. So correct answer is 1 and 3 only. Okay. See, 1 and 3 only is a correct answer. Okay, moving on to next question. Vultures, related to vultures. So vultures, which used to be very common in Indian countryside some years ago, are rarely seen nowadays. This is attributed to destruction of their nesting sites by new invasive species, a drug used by cattle owners for treating the diseased cattle, a scarcity of food available to them, widespread persistent and fatal disease among them. Okay, so the correct answer is drug used by cattle owners for treating their diseased cattle. Okay, so this is the correct answer. So vultures, they were very much common. So primarily due to diclofenac. It's actually a veterinary drug used to treat cattle. So this vulture consumes the carcass of this cattle treated with diclofenac. So this causes kidney failure. So it will be affecting these people. Okay. All right. Next one, consider the following statements related to Bodo Peace Accord. Bodo Peace Accord of 2020. It led to renaming of Bodoland Territories area district of Bodoland Territorial Region. It granted scheduled tribe status to Bodos living in Assam's Hill District. Accord mentions granting citizenship right to non-domicile. Granting citizenship rights to non-domiciles in Bodoland Territorial Region. This is wrong. Okay. Other than that, two statements are correct. Okay. So correct answer is 1 and 2 only. So these are the questions of today's daily news analysis. So that will be discussed in tomorrow's daily news analysis. Okay, three questions are there. So initially we have discussed today, March 18th is very important because Rowlatt Act, on this day 1919 only Rowlatt Act was enacted. Rowlatt Act was enacted. So this is the anniversary. Today is an anniversary of Rowlatt Act. So question based on that. Okay. So Rowlatt Act was officially known as the Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act, the Defence of India Act, Government of India Act, Indian Penal Code Amendment Act. Okay. So correct answer is A, Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. A, Anarchical and based on the Rowlatt Committee. Rowlatt Committee only Rowlatt Act came. So that's why this act has been also known as the Rowlatt Act. Okay, so it was passed by the British government in India to extend the wartime emergency so that authorities can directly arrest or maybe detain individuals even without a trial itself. They can be done. So this was done to suppress the freedom of speech and even curb the revolutionary activities during that particular period. Okay, all right. So that's it for today's daily news analysis. Thank you.